The numbers told the story. They always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gill Alexander on VSiN.
Good Tuesday morning to you. It is a numbers game at VSiN, the sports betting network, VSiN.com, Game Plus, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV, and yes, Sirius XM channel 158. What's happening? It's Gill Alexander. This gentleman to my left, to your right, is Kelly Bidlin, everybody. Producer number 9. So much more than a producer. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
You seem closer today.
I feel
physically.
I feel like we look closer to.
Oh, you know what? I'm not on my mark. I think it's me. Sorry, guys. I'll be
Stop
moving
creeping
next
over
segment.
on me, Gil. Come on, man.
Hi, Kelly.
This is the draw. This is the dividing line.
Maybe I should move after this segment. On the show today,
let's just get closer.
Good one as always. Get uncomfortably close to each other.
Let's get 3 inches closer every segment.
Next segment, shoulder to shoulder. Me and Kelly. Drew Dinsick will join us. Whale Capper on Twitter. He is the host of not one but 2 podcasts. Co-host the Deep Dive with Andy Molitor, and of course NBC Sports Bet the Edge with Jay Croucher. He will join us. Drew to talk tennis, football, and a little NBA as well. And speaking of tennis, many of you had the pleasure of waking up this morning, well, assuming you were on the right side of this. Novak Djokovic takes down Carlitos to get to the semifinals of the Australian Open. Did so in 4 sets. He looked injured. He looked impaired. We'll talk to Drew about that. I didn't get a chance to watch most of it because I was asleep for most of it and then coming here into work. But Novak gets to the semis. Novak has won 10 Australian Opens.
That's pretty good. It's not bad.
If you're not Rafa at the French Open, that's about as good as it gets. But he's trying to win his 11th. Of course, Jannik Sinner still remains between him and the title. We will talk NFL Conference Championship games. Of course, Will Hill with all of his bets. Both in the National Football League and beyond. And then Paul Carr with the Champions League. How about some midweek Champions League action for everybody?
Champions. There is a match that Paul Carr has bet in over 4.5 in.
Oh.
I'm just throwing that out there now. Wow. A soccer match today, not even tomorrow. And he is on the over 4.5.
And for the new folks at Sirius XM 158 who might be checking this out for the first time, we will actually tell you what the Champions League is. Because this is for the standard American sports fan, this is always very confusing. Paul has an analogy. It'd be like playing some NCAA conference tournaments in the middle of a basketball season.
It's like the NBA Cup if the games didn't count for the regular season. You don't think the American public knows enough about the NBA Cup yet to make that comparison?
Maybe they do.
Probably not.
Well, we'll get Paul's thoughts on that and then how he's handicapping that. Got to start with the college football national championship last night. Ohio State wins it and covers, but barely in the end. My goodness. This was a very strange game in terms of how the game script went. With it looked like the Buckeyes were just going to blow them out of the gym, as they say, and then this was going to be just easy peasy for Buckeyes backers. Notre Dame started out with a 18-play, 75-yard drive that took 9 minutes and 45 seconds off the clock to go up 7-0. We had a big argument on not a big argument, but a debate on the group text last night. I was like, is that a great drive or is that a drive where you're just lucky to move the chains, right?
I thought it was great.
The narrative is always, what a great drive. Yeah, but you're just kind of getting there. And so, Todd took the approach of, that's not a great drive.
Okay. I think I took it as the opening drives are always very scripted, right? Like it was a lot of quarterback runs that clearly Ohio State wasn't prepared for. I thought Notre Dame, they took advantage of a scripted opening drive.
From that point, an Ohio State onslaught. 11 plays, 75 yards. Howard to Jeremiah Smith from 8 outs, 7-7. After Notre Dame 3 and out. Ohio State 10 plays, 76 yards. Quinshon Judkins in from 9, 14-7. 6:15 left in the second quarter. After another Notre Dame 3 and out. 12 plays, 80 yards. Howard to Judkins from 6 out, 21-7 at the half. And then it only got, by the way, Howard 14 of 15 for 144, and he was spreading them out. Tate for 33, Igbokwe for 33, Smith 32, Judkins 21, Ennis for 19. 231-93 in total yards. Ohio State 6 for 6 on third down. Or as Molly McGrath put it to Marcus Freeman as they went to the locker room after that 21-7 thrashing. She said, how does your defense get them off the field on third down? And Freeman thinks about it for a second and says, we got to get them off the field on third down. This is a great exchange. Notre Dame, largest deficit faced this season at that point, 14 points. Ohio State 58-4, went up at the half. Well, third quarter, it only got worse for the Irish. Ohio State comes out 5 plays, 75 yards. The second play was a Judkins 70-yard sprint. 3 plays later, he was in from 28-7. And then after a Notre Dame 3-and-out, they tried the fake punt. Steve Angeli, incomplete, intended for Jordan Faison. And so then Ohio State's up 21 points now, set up at the Notre Dame 33. So you're like, okay, this is like at this point,
blowout.
If your mind drifts, you are not to be blamed. Because you're like, well, this is a run out. And then it was like, what's the March of the Penguins when Morgan Freeman says, and then one day one penguin takes one step to the left and everybody follows them. Nobody knows why.
This is my favorite Gill Alexander reference that he makes at least 3 times a year.
Because it's just, it's about 3 times a year.
About 3 times a year, yeah.
And then one penguin takes it. So Howard misses a wide open Carnell Tate in the end zone. So this is after a hold. But he misses a wide open Carnell Tate. So that, you probably didn't pay much attention to that at the moment, but they have to settle for a field goal. So it's 31-7. At the time, you're like, well, big deal. They're up 24.
Oh, I'm already on secondary TV. Yeah,
I'm watching tennis. I'm
Yeah.
watching Badosa and golf. We'll get to tennis picks coming up as well.
Where was that match? Sorry, I shouldn't.
I watched it on ESPN Plus, but I didn't know as I was watching it on ESPN Plus, I was like, wait a minute, maybe this is on ESPN too.
That's what I kept doing, and I couldn't find it.
Okay, so
and then it was too late.
Yeah, so it was ESPN Plus. Okay, so Notre Dame gets the ball down 24. This is the first time they put together a big drive since the opening salvo. 10 plays, 75 yards. Leonard Jaden Greathouse for 34. The 2-point try to Jeremiah Love is good. Remember, they're down 24, so they need 3 times 8. There's your first 8. It's 31-15, late third quarter. Then Ohio State matriculates again, but on 2nd and 8 at the Notre Dame 45, Howard to Igbuka for 24, ball poked out. Notre Dame recovers. And then down 16, it's 4th and goal at the 9 for Notre Dame with 9 minutes and 33 seconds left in the game. What do you do, Kelly Bidlin?
Go for 2, obviously.
I mean, go for the touchdown, you mean?
Touchdown, yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
yes, not kick the field goal. Yeah.
So Kelly goes for 2, which is an option that most of us didn't know was available to us at that point. Kelly's like, I've got a special play.
All right, score the touchdown, then go for 2.
Well, Marcus Freeman decides he's going to kick a field goal. And Jeter doinks a 27-yarder. Because whenever you get a chance to knock down a 2-score game to a 2-score game at that point, you really got to
take it every time.
You really got to take that opportunity. So Ohio State does have to punt after that. And then Notre Dame goes 6 plays, 80 yards. Leonard to Greathouse from 30. PI anyway, didn't matter. Jordan Faison to Bo Collins for 2. It's 31-23 with 4:15 left. Remember, most of the week, this was 8. If this lands 8, certain sports books get crushed.
Just like that Chiefs-Texans game.
And for those of us for those of us who decided to bet Ohio State -8, it's one of these like, this will be the worst push ever. Seriously, this will be the worst push ever. What happens then is Ohio State gets into a 3rd and 11 at their own 34 with 2:45 left. Howard to Jeremiah Smith for 56. Unbelievable. 1st and goal at the Notre Dame, 10 with 2 minutes left. Then you get into the whole thing. Okay, the number's 8 for most. Right? Some people who had the 8.5s were dying.
Yeah,
that they laid the 8.5. But the number's 8. How is this going to play out? Are they going to just because Notre Dame only had 1 timeout at that point. Are they just going to do a cloud of dust, kick a field goal? They start with a false start. That didn't make it very easy. But then Judkins for 1, timeout Notre Dame. Howard for 2, clock rolls. Howard loses 2. 29 seconds left. Fielding in, 33-yard field goal. Just sneaks in the right upright. And Ohio State wins it by 11. So the books, or certain books, not all books, but certain books avoid a disaster. Ohio State gets home ultimately, barely, after leading by just, 24 points at one point in this game. This is, we talk about the congratulations, by the way, to Ohio State, to everybody who had them on futures, to Ryan Day. I wonder what the percentage of the Ohio State fan base today is still like, yeah, but we, still didn't beat Michigan. So let's get rid of the guy.
I'm going to go like 10%.
10%. I think it's still a non-negligible percentage where you're like, well, what's wrong with you people?
I agree.
By the way, Notre Dame covered 3 of the 4 quarters, if you want to do it that way as well. As far as the entire 12-team format, as I have been saying now for 3 weeks, I think this has been a disaster just in terms of the timing of games because it's all been spread out by more than a week from round to round. And I do think you lose the plot at some point. And so I believe they need to settle on a day of the week, whatever that week, whatever. I would do it this way. If January 1st lands on any day, Monday through Friday, you just pick that day and you go backwards and forwards a week apart for all these rounds.
Sounds good to me.
If it ends up on the weekend, then you're kind of screwed in terms of that. It's a half-baked plan. But if it's on the week, I think that's how you format it. But just pick a day of the week and stick with that the whole way through. Because otherwise, we sort of, how many times did I have to remind myself this weekend that the college football national championship was on Monday night? At least 5 times. I don't think I'm alone.
I don't have the answers. I like your idea, though. I think we could make Saturdays work even. Or I
don't know. The NFL's a behemoth, man.
I know.
It's exhausting already watching the NFL.
I know it is.
And betting on it. I mean, in a good way. By the way, I don't agree with this. Did I send you the tweet? Maybe I didn't send you the tweet.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, I did? Okay, this is from a guy who covers Baylor sports, Sam Bradshaw. He says, Kansas State's quarterback, he's talking about Will Howard here, throwing a touchdown to Ole Miss's running back for Ohio State, talking about Quinshon Judkins, who's defending against Wake Forest's quarterback. I think he means Duke's quarterback and Riley Leonard there. Throwing to FIU's wideout, he means Chris Mitchell. After beating Texas, led by OSU's quarterback, he's talking about Quinn Ewers, to Houston's wideout last week, meaning Matthew Golden, summarizes why a lot of people care less now. I'm not sure that's it, but I'm sure for a small percentage that's it as well.
Yeah.
Not for me, though.
Doesn't affect me.
Not me. Yeah, I think that's a little overblown. I just think it's the spacing between games. We'll come back. Drew Dinsick, NFL, tennis, and, of course, the NBA. That's next. Numbers Game, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
A numbers game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Want to bet smarter? Start with Smarter Insights. A VSiN Pro subscription delivers the kind of actionable content that gives you the betting edge. Right now, you can check out articles like Zach Cohen writing about the NFC showdown between the Commanders and the Eagles, and managing editor Adam Burke breaks down the AFC matchup between the Bills and the Chiefs. Pardon me, got emotional about that matchup. They analyze the key matchups and tell you what to expect from both conference championships. Greg Peterson, of course, as always, with his college basketball best bets. The man's nickname is Hoops, for God's sake. And later today, you can check out a Farmers Insurance Open preview from Wes Reynolds, who has been on fire. Back-to-back wins at 110-1 and 60-1. Don't miss his expert breakdown and top pick for this week's PGA Tour action. Also, Zach on best NBA props and picks. Jonathan Davis, NHL best bets and props. It just goes on till the break of dawn. To get access to all the articles on VSiN.com, right now you can sign up for $59 off an annual subscription with promo code ANG.
ANG is an A-numbers game, Gil.
Got one job, man. Just head to VSiN.com/subscribe to sign up today. We get tweets at Beating the Book. Always appreciate the feedback. Best listeners in the game. This is from JD in Florida. Woke up at 4:30 a.m. to watch Djokovic and Alcaraz and did not think Joker stood a chance after the medical timeout in the first set. Women's side golf just folded after the break of serve by Badosa in first set at 5-5. We'll get Drew's reaction to Djokovic and Alcaraz here momentarily. P5 legends. Gil, looking at the NCAA March Madness bracket, isn't it hypocritical for the NCAA selection to blindly look at teams for choosing at large and then contradicting this by mandating same conference teams can't play in early rounds? Oh, you mean against each other? Skews the seeding badly, seed 1 through 64 blindly. Oh, that's a very random tweet for a morning in January.
I'm still confused.
I don't think that it's contradictory, but I hear what you're saying, that it creates some kind of mishugas to it. But I don't think it's contradictory. We'll get into that more as the conference tournaments and the NCAA basketball season persists. Ice Cold Gambler, where's the numbers game Super Bowl party? I'm looking to have a drink with Kelly and a water with Gil. You can find me at Aria unless you guys have something better for us listeners. Well, Jason, Ice Cold Gambler, if a certain team from D.C. makes the Super Bowl, you know where it's going to be? Nolans. Oops.
Also, I appreciate the invite. Pretty sure you and I have talked about this on air before, but when it's the Super Bowl,
yeah,
it is me by myself watching on the couch. I don't want to be bothered at all.
I'm that way for every game in the playoffs.
I mean, it's the whole season, but yeah.
Hoops by Hoots. For as aggressive as Freeman was all playoffs, he went from Dan Campbell to Antonio Pierce in one night. Fake punt with the backup quarterback out there, and then a field goal down 16 with 10 minutes, because if you could turn a 2-score game into a 2-score game, you must. Believe I just said that. Yep. D-Gen Southern Gent, not asking you to share the recipe to Gilly's secret tennis sauce, but I was hoping maybe you'd share why you bet Bedosa on the game's handicap rather than the set or money line. As always, love hearing your insight and expertise. That's a good segue into Drew also. I will answer that question, and I'll be honest with you. I had Benchich plus 470 or something like that, plus 475 against Goff the other night, and I had her on the games line plus 5.5. She wins the first set 7-5. I'm thinking we might win both of these. Instead, she gets rolled, I think 6-2, 6-1 in the second and third sets, so we lose both of them. So I will be perfectly honest with you, D-Gen Southern Gent. I think I was a little gun shy at taking Bedosa on the money line, so I went with the games line, and obviously Bedosa wins it outright. Drew Dinsick joins us at Whale_Capper, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. Drew, start wherever you want with tennis. Djokovic and Alcaraz might be the best place to start.
Yes, well, things down under went pear-shaped for me this morning. I don't understand. I watched that entire match. I don't understand how Djokovic won. Alcaraz looked to me to be clearly the better player. But Djokovic, he really kind of did a nice job of embracing the crowd, getting the crowd on his side. I don't know that I've ever seen another match where the crowd wasn't pro Alcaraz in an Alcaraz match. And then just in general, like the high leverage points, he just played cleaner. The really confounding and like throw your remote and like I shouldn't be this angry this early in the morning type of stuff was the second serve for Djokovic. Alcaraz could find nothing to really gain an advantage when he was up against that second serve.
Wow.
And, Djokovic's first serve abandoned him with like a set and a half to go in that match. And every single second serve, Alcaraz would come up, try to take it on quickly. And when he would come up, Djokovic would hit him with extra power on the second serve. When he would move back, he would give him extra slice, and it was like error into the net on return from Alcaraz. And it's just like he's conceding here, like take it, and he just couldn't do it. And then the kind of fourth set at the death, like the real high leverage stuff, like Alcaraz produces 2 break points to try to level that fourth, and the momentum really felt like it was swinging in his favor. And, Djokovic just put his foot down. Alcaraz made a couple of boneheaded errors. And, it's like Djokovic just looked like the more serious player out there. Alcaraz was having fun. He's kicking the ball. He's chumming with his box, even though he's like, you're at the death here, mate. Like, what the hell? It was
interesting.
It was a frustrating experience because eye test said there was a clear better player, and it was Alcaraz. And somehow, Djokovic not only comes through 3-1, he looked like he had gotten, he was obviously the medical timeout situation. He was not 100%. He just the weapons didn't really appear to be there all the way. It was mostly just that, Alcaraz could not find a way to gain an advantage when the opportunity arose.
Let's be clear here. You had a bet on Carlitos for this match or for the tournament?
Oh, for the tournament, I was heavy for a quarter for the tournament. I didn't think Djokovic was fairly priced by market at all. I still don't. I can't believe he's minus 160 against Zverev this next round. That seems completely backwards to me.
Wait, he's a minus 160 favorite against Zverev?
Yeah.
Oh my. Okay.
I guess this is like there is a whiff of invincibility around Djokovic at this particular court.
He has won 10 of these tournaments. Yeah,
this is the only other kind of even remotely equivalent to Rafa on Philip Chatrier is Djokovic on Rod Laver, and he's coming up with the magic. But Zverev didn't make it easy against Tommy Paul. But when he needed to raise his game, when he needed to find a break to level things in the first and second set, he did. And then when they got to the tiebreak, Zverev was just like, bang, no, I'm much better than you, and I will just win this tiebreak 7-0.
I have
right?
I have no idea how Zverev won that match. By the way, he was the lesser player, and he won the first 2 sets. It was incredible.
Yeah, he basically was like, "Yeah, let's see what you got, Tommy. Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it. All right, I'll try." Right, like that was kind of the feeling that I got more so than than he was truly the lesser player. But that said, I would make Zverev the -160 favorite here, and I'm staring at a Djokovic -143 right now at the place that'll take the biggest limits.
Wow, Drew heavy on Zverev. Heavy on Sasha Zverev there in that match. By the way, these are the current futures with 6 players left. Jannik Sinner, even money, the number 1 player in the world. Novak, who has won 10 of these at +220. Then Sasha Zverev at +450. Everybody else is in a different category. De Minaur, Shelton, and Sonego. Anything else besides Zverev, which you have painted a picture as to why you are in love with that bet, but anything else?
Maybe I'm like a prisoner of last year in the semifinals where Djokovic came out and Sinner just absolutely buried him. Right, like to me, that was almost like, well, yeah, that's the era of invincibility is now gone, and maybe realistically, something else was going on that day. Something else in that cycle leading up to that moment really was affecting him. But whatever the case is, I'm cool on Djokovic. I think Sinner is vulnerable to finally lose at long last Alex de Minaur today, just because of the. Just because of the physical toll that the last match took on him. He was very, very clearly ill in that match. And if you didn't know, de Minaur is 0-9 head-to-head. This would be magic number 10 for Sinner if he gets the win. But there's enough support here for de Minaur, I think, to do something special, which actually makes me think this is ultimately going to be a Zverev slam. Sorry for everyone who loves tennis.
Wow.
But I feel like it's coming.
Which would be his first ever, by the way. He's gotten to 2 slam finals and has not gotten himself a title. I thought about de Minaur plus the games. By the way, I have him at 55-1 to win the tournament. At no point did I ever think he'd get past Sinner here, and here we are now. De Minaur against Sinner. De Minaur will have the home crowd, of course. But it's because of that head-to-head. I'm not usually a head-to-head guy. I'm usually a data guy. But it is his game is not really set up to beat Sinner if all is at top power. So really, if you are betting de Minaur in any way, it's because you think Sinner is hampered. You would agree with that, I think.
Without question. And I would even say that the best of de Minaur, which was probably like summer of last year, we haven't seen that guy at all in this run-up. He was pretty bad in his quarterfinal, or his round of 16 match. I thought he was just up against the Mickelson who couldn't find the court. But yeah, no, I think Sinner's in trouble, and I think Zverev is the bet right now to the title town.
Okay, we go to the NFL and the NBA after a Martin Luther King day of 8 NBA games. Drew's got thoughts and bets on both football and basketball. Other side, numbers game, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
A numbers game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Ready to take your tailgate to the next level? You got to try Sewell's Barbecue. Born from a backyard cookout in a mason jar of unforgettable flavor, Sewell's has become a Southern favorite, delighting taste buds from Georgia to the Carolinas. From smoky ribs and mouth-watering wings to the perfect backyard burger, Sewell's turns every bite into a flavor-packed experience. Order now at SewellsBarbecueSauce.com. That's SEWELLS BBQSauce.com. Flavor this good is just a click away.
And if you're watching at home, you can scan that QR code now with your phone.
That's right. Scan away.
If you're driving, I don't recommend it.
Hold that up for a second, guys, so people can scan away. By the way, somebody tweeted yesterday, McManus, he tweeted, he goes, I listened to the show today, and I tried that website, Sewell's Barbecue, wait for it, Kelly, sauce.com. And for some reason, it didn't work. No, SewellsBarbecueSauce.com is the actual, SewellsBBQSauce.com is the name of the actual website. We do get tweets at Beating the Book, and I always appreciate it. I always appreciate the feedback. If you're funny, we'll always read it. You can even be mean to us, but as long as you're funny. Scotty B726, Barranco Scott. What about Ryan Day snapping the ball with 15 seconds on the play clock around the 2:40 mark? Gave Notre Dame a timeout. You know what? I missed that. I did miss that little detail. My bad. Moneyline Marv. I guess for their villains of college football arc, it made sense for Ohio State to win the first 12-team college football playoff after winning the first 4-team college football playoff. Ray at Ray 393939. I realized they placed a 20-1 bet on the Washington Compadres to win the NFC on New Year's Eve at 2 a.m. Don't remember placing it for some reason, but how's that ticket look now? Yeah, man, I don't know what's wrong with
those
you.
are some of the best bets. You know what one of my favorite bets of the year was? Was me with a few too many drinks in me in Key West and texting Drew Dinsick. I'm like, I got to use this Hard Rock promo bet on something on the Olympics because it's the only thing going on right now. What should I bet? And he's like, this guy top 3 in the marathon or something. I'm like, they only offer it to win or just to win, right? Win the gold. I'm like, I'm betting it anyways. And the guy actually won. I don't remember his name anymore.
I was going to say, you have great recall on who that was and what sport it was.
I bet Drew remembers.
Olympics Drew is our favorite kind of Drew.
He gets fired up, yeah.
Jamie Leva, by the way, encroachment on Gill, 5 yards. Encroachment on Kelly Bidlin, too close to you. We'll get to more tweets, but Drew is here once again. Drew Dinsick at whale_capper, courtesy of the Progressive guest line. Okay, let's go to the National Football League.
By the way, we're just a year away from Olympic Drew making a grand return in the Winter Olympics of 2026. Check out the old NBC docket for February of 2026. They have opening ceremonies on Friday the 6th, Super Bowl on Sunday the 8th, 2 weeks of Olympics, and then wedge in there NBA All-Star game on like February 14th or whatever. It's going to be an absolutely bananas month of coverage for the old Peacock.
Drew has got the February 2026 calendar ready to go.
Why don't we do
if you haven't started handicapping winter 2026 Olympics, you're behind.
You're behind.
Why don't they do the Olympics in the 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl? That would be nice.
I don't think the Olympic Committee is thinking about the Super Bowl.
Well, they should be, Gil.
Yeah,
they
I
should
don't think
be.
They are. John Stewart, who famously said about the Winter Olympics, less sports than it is drunken dares. It's one of the great lines ever. All right, National Football League. I don't know if you know this, Drew, but Philly's playing Washington in the NFC, and Buffalo's playing Kansas City in the AFC. Kansas City, a tick of a favorite. Philly taking money. First of all, how did the division round go for you, and where are the bets here moving forward?
Well, I mean, I just assume that, all the kickers I bet on made their extra points in their chip shot field goals, right?
This is bitter. Bitter
Drew
Drew today.
No.
Very bitter.
Wait, no. The Houston Texans can't execute the very most basic field goal to cover the spread. That absolutely hurt. And then, yes, the Eagles pushing that 6 is going to haunt me as well. I know that, ultimately they probably didn't deserve the cover, especially the way they played at the very tail end of that one. But
what was with that defense? They just all of a sudden stopped blitzing.
They thought they were thinking championship game. What am I going to wear?
Yeah.
What's my outfit going to be for the walk-in? I honestly, I have, that one, those hurt. And then all of my Baltimore futures going up in smoke was rough. Got the over home there by the hook. Got the second half Ravens home thanks to the Bills not going for the touchdown, which I thought they easily would have gotten. Instead, they kicked the field goal to go up 8, which, ultimately that was the difference. But there was the margins for all of the games were extremely narrow relative to spread, except for your commies.
My commies. How do you feel about the Eagles taking money now? Eagles up to a 6-point favorite in some spots here now?
I have fully staked 5.5. So I agree with that.
You have laid the 5.5.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it every week. Disrespectful.
Yeah.
Going back for more.
All disrespectful, all you people.
Gil, I'm not sure if you've been noticing, but this is going to be the 4th straight week on the road for the Commanders.
Yes, I have
not
noticed.
Easy to win your 4th straight game on the road in a playoff environment like the Link.
No, for sure. And by the way, and I'll just say this again for all Washington fans, none of us thought this was going to happen, right? I said all year, and I'm on the more optimistic side. I was like, hey, they're going to they're going to win one playoff game, and after that, that's a season. That's an unbelievable season. And then now, oh my God. So I don't think there's anybody who listen. But I will say this: I will push back a little bit on the narrative I'm hearing about how, Washington's defense has gotten rolled and all this stuff, and how they'll be overmatched against Philly. They did play 2 games against Philly this year. Sure. And the first game, they led at halftime, did get beat up in the second half. I will grant that in Philly. Lost by 8. The second game, which everybody's saying, oh, well, Jalen Hurts got hurt and it was Kenny Pickett. Yeah, Philly was also +3 in turnovers. So that's a bit of horse manure on that narrative, if I may say so. So it's a little overblown to me, but I get it. Look, Saquon destroys them. There's no question he does. Yeah, go ahead.
If I were you, I would have wanted to lose those 2 games so that you could be like, it's tough to beat a team 3 times, Gill.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that. Hate that.
There's not the Commanders are very live, and I'll say what I said on the Megapod, which is if you like the +6 with Washington, bet the money line.
Yeah,
this is a team that's going to play into variance. That's what they do. Jaden Daniels is a quarterback who is capable of winning this game. We know he is. We know he has the goods. The Eagles have the worst, have a worse quarterback and a worse coach. These are all realities. I bet the Eagles because in particular the Barkley matchup is a disaster, and then on the defensive side, Jalen Carter emerging last week. And Cosme going down with the ACL, that to me is being a little bit unspoken.
That's large.
The D line for the Eagles could fully wreck this game. And I know that Daniels out of the pocket is still capable of making magic, but with this is a tough style of defense to do that against, because they deploy so many guys in the secondary, and this could be sort of a breakthrough turnover type of performance for Daniels. But that said, he has been an absolute joy to watch. Lions Commanders was the best game of the playoffs, I thought, by far. It was just fun. I'm glad we get to see him take on the Eagles again, and at 6 -115, I'm not super inclined to say that there's a bet of the year on the Eagles here. 5.5 was good, just because all of the concerns about Hurts kind of were put to bed, I thought, yesterday. Ultimately, I think the Commanders are either money line or pass at this price.
Great advice last week from both you and Rufus, Steve Fezzik. That was the best advice of the week, which was if you're going to make a play here, and you didn't even have to have conviction on the Commanders, just from mathematical standpoint, you should be playing the Commanders on the money line. Anything on the Bills Chiefs? Did you take a position there?
I did. I'm a glutton for punishment, so I went against Mahomes again.
Wow.
Give it to me. The edge here is virtually nil. I think this game should be a pick, and you're getting the better quarterback ? At plus money. The Bills defense is scary. The fact that they were so soft in that second half against the Ravens, and it really took the Ravens mistakes to kind of, get the Bills across the finish line is not lost on me. But I also feel like that was like a C performance from the Bills, and they still probably should have won by margin. Just in general, the way the Bills have sort of kind of cracked the code of how you want to attack the Spagnuolo defense, I think, is notable. The general kind of give me Josh Allen with the ball, needs to win the game. I'm happy having plus money in that situation. This is a very weak angle, and I don't know that there is a bet to be made in this game unless you just want some action.
I like the honesty. Drew's like, here's the bet. It's a very weak angle. I like the honesty. Anything NBA tonight before we bounce?
NBA tonight is virtually on market exactly, with the exception of I have a tiny edge against my Orlando Magic. I haven't bet it, but numbers say that Toronto should be a pick, and it's plus 1.5 right now. I don't know if I'm going to play it. Was there anything to the fact that there were 8 games on MLK Day, 7 went under, and the only one that went over went to overtime? Anything to that? I mean, there was a lot of early starts. Early starts in the NBA equal under.
Yeah, so that played into it for sure. Okay. Drew Dinsick, everybody, at @whale_capper. An ornery Drew this morning. Drew, good luck moving forward, sir.
All right, best luck, guys.
Coming back with more football.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Back on a numbers game, live from Circa Resort Casino here in downtown Las Vegas. Gill Alexander and, of course, Kelly Bidlin alongside. Hey, wherever you are, check this out. VSiN, the sports betting network, access available in so many places, but of course now live 24/7 on SiriusXM channel 158. Whether you're at home, on the road, or on the go, Now there's more ways than ever to tune in to VSiN. Stream us live on VSiN.com, the VSiN Watch app, YouTube TV, iHeartRadio, Fire TV, Roku, and now SiriusXM. No more excuses, people. Is there like a bevy of people who are making excuses? Like, I'm sorry, I can't find it anymore.
I don't know.
Sorry, didn't mean to get angry for a second. But SiriusXM 158, all aboard. Can't wait for everybody to find it and listen in if you haven't found it already.
There's things on the graphic I don't even know what they are. Like I don't really know what Google Play is. Like, do you know what that is? Fire TV.
Fire TV was something that sort of caught me off guard.
Yeah, what's the difference between Amazon Prime and that? That's a different Amazon product.
And conversations we should probably have off air.
It's there though. If you've got it, you can watch it.
Kelly, let's use our inside voice. Jason, we had tweets at beating the book. Jason Stark, Joker won with grit and guile this morning. He says, this is from. Then he adds greatness, grit, guile, and greatness. He says, D-Gen Southern Jet. I felt like we should have known Alcaraz didn't have the juice last night when we saw him pre-match in that Jordan cardigan. This is from Mark Descartes. He says, hey, Gilly, trying to continue my education. When you bet a favorite in tennis, do you lay it to win a full unit or do you lay a unit to win less than a full unit? I do the former. Roger Jones at Brocco wins. Gil, I don't want to lessen your euphoria this week with such trivial matters, but one little tidbit that was missed in your recap was Mahomes diving at the stripe, fishing for another call. Oh, yes, I forgot about that. You're right. In the NHL, he would have been called for unsportsmanlike conduct, while I'm sure his teammates and fans love him doing everything to win by hunting for contact and then sliding or flopping. Enough is enough. Let's call it fair for everyone, says Roger Jones. Joe C714. I'll say it with my chest, Gil. The Commodores will beat Philly. My Rams D-line absolutely wrecked Hurts' knee in the second half. He wasn't the same after that and won't be right for this game. Washington money line. Let's go. And Brandon Webb, not that Brandon Webb, but a different Brandon Webb, said, heard this morning that Humans is on the commodes. We don't call them the commodes anymore, though. Matty Humans taking Washington as well. You wanted to show me something with a golf cart. What is this now?
Oh, yeah. From last night at the national championship game. You didn't see this video?
I like to be entertained on my own show.
This is great. I missed it too. Because I don't know how late you stayed up after the game. But this is Ryan Day and company and Will Howard and company getting escorted to the press conference.
Oh man!
Loaded into this golf cart and just goes right into the wall. Oh man!
Yeah, they got a little whiplash from it too. My goodness.
Right, Ryan. All the players laughing about it just get out and walk to the press conference. Ryan Day seemingly upset, concerned about the golf cart.
Ryan Day is jarred.
Doesn't know if he's going to have to replace this with his own money. This works.
Did you have any issue with Kirk Herbstreit openly weeping? Former Ohio State player Kirk Herbstreit
I did not
openly weeping about the overcome with emotion at Ohio State's win.
No, I did not catch that.
That was in the post game. Yeah.
I guess I don't have an issue with it.
Some people did, yeah.
I mean, look, I'm sure he was trying to stay professional there. It's if emotions get the best of you, emotions get the best of you, right?
He made a point to say that, he's completely objective when he's calling the game. But, of course, some people view the tears as proof that he can't be, So, anyway, it's interesting. In a time where Tom Brady is interviewing head coaching candidates for the Raiders while doing games, some of the candidates he's interviewing actually coaching in the game. And by the way, Ben Johnson takes the Bears job, which if you believe my Sewell's Barbecue Sauce story, I don't know if that's the right guy.
Yeah, I think
Sewell's Barbecue story, by the way, for those who missed it last week, is I had always thought that Ben Johnson didn't take the Washington job because he thought that management was too basketball-y, right? He thought that Josh Harris, Bob Myers, Magic Johnson, that triumvirate was too basketball-y, and he was like, I'd rather stay in Detroit. I'm not interested in this head coaching job. But the story that we were told last week, which if true is really damning of Ben Johnson, was that's not how it happened, that Adam Peters in Washington was heading in the team plane towards the interview with Ben Johnson, and they're talking to him in the team plane on the way there, and they're like, hey, we're going to draft Jaden Daniels, let's talk about this for a second. And he's like, well, no, I want it to be Sam Howell. And they're like, no, you don't get it. We're gonna draft Jaden Daniels second. He's like, well, no, I'd want to do the offense around Sam Howell. And Adam Peters then said, turn this plane around. So if that story is true, that to me is very damning on this. But Chicago gets their man in Ben Johnson.
It does feel like just a huge coup to be able to grab a talented coordinator from a team that's in your own division. I don't know why that's just like that part of it. I feel like goes under the radar a bit when we talk about these coaches.
Dan Quinn's a great example.
Yeah.
Let's talk about these championship games. We did a lot of recapping yesterday, but not so much about talking about this. Let's just focus on the times that these teams have played thus far this year. So Kansas City, Buffalo, they played in Week 11. Buffalo won that game 30-21. Kelly, I have no recall of this game whatsoever because this was a few weeks, I guess, after my mom passed. But I did look at my recap of it, and it was one of these games where Kansas City, Mahomes threw a pick early. Buffalo came out, took a 6-0 lead. Bass missed an extra point. Kansas City came back, went up 7-6. Buffalo came back, went up 13-7. So it was back and forth. It was 16-14 Buffalo at the half after Kansas City went up 14-13, then 16-14 Buffalo. And then Buffalo got the 2-score advantage in the second half. An 83-yard drive, Allen to Samuel. So it was 23-14, and then Kansas City could never quite come back from there. They cut it to 23-21. But then remember that, this I do remember. The play of the play that Jim Nantz just went crazy on. The Buffalo 4th and 2 at the Kansas City 26. They're up 2 points, and Josh Allen takes it to the house. Mm-hmm. That iconic play from this season. So Buffalo ends up winning that game 30-21. Read into that what you will. That game was in Buffalo. Do you tend to read into one matchup from earlier in the season?
No, not really. I actually think that's a good question of good just kind of basic handicapping question once we get into the playoffs. I mean, I think a little bit, but I think with teams like this, like I'm more interested in stuff like that with teams that we haven't seen go up against each other as many times as we've seen the Bills and Chiefs now with the quarterbacks and the head coaches in the current positions that they're in.
Washington and Philly split their games. I alluded to this with Drew earlier. The first one was in Philly, also Week 11, same week that Buffalo played Kansas City. And again, as I discussed with Drew, that was the one where Washington actually led 7-3 at the half, but the Skins only had 124 total yards in that first half. And then Philly took over after they were down 10-3. Philly took over in the second half. They end up winning at 26-18. Philly outgained Washington 435-264. Saquon a cool 146 and 2 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. But then in Week 16, that was the one that Washington won. It was the one that Hurts got hurt in, right? Kenny Pickett had to come in. But people forget, as I mentioned, that Washington was -3 in turnovers and won that game. That great Jaden Daniels drive down the stretch to win it 36-33 in D.C. as the Skins continued their cardiac commander's role, which has just been something to behold. So the team split. Let me do a couple combined stats from the two games. Daniels versus Philly, 2 games, 449 passing yards, a 78.2 QBR. That's scored out of 100, 6 touchdowns and 3 picks. So he's been good. By the way, one of the things, here's the biggest thing, and I'm a Washington guy, but here's the biggest thing to me in Philly's favor. Am I allowed to give a Philly? This is why I would say if people are betting Philly, this ought to be their biggest talking point to me, is that, and you saw this in the Detroit game, right? Detroit blitzed Daniels. They tried hard to blitz him. Maybe they did it because they were hampered with injuries on defense, but that was their strategy. Well, Jaden Daniels against the blitz in that game had a 91.8 QBR. And since Week 13, when the Commanders' 7-game winning streak began, Daniels against the blitz, Daniels period, 82.3 QBR, ranking only second to Josh Allen. Or I believe, excuse me, that's against the blitz, pardon me. So that's the thing. It's like you can't beat him by blitzing. But here's the thing for Philly. No, Philly's so good on defense, they rarely blitz. Yeah. Right? They've only blitzed 18% of the time entering this past week, 4th lowest in the National Football League, because they're so good. So they don't have to rely on that. That's the biggest thing Philly has against Jaden Daniels, that they don't have to, bring the house and sell out. And Saquon Barkley is the other big thing. I alluded to this with Drew as well. Saquon Barkley, you ready for this against the Skins? He averages in his career just over 137 scrimmage yards per game. The only player to average more scrimmage yards against a single opponent in NFL history, 10 games minimum, including playoffs, Jim Brown against the Eagles. So whenever you invoke the name of Jim Brown, oh boy. So those are the two biggest sort of stat points in favor of the Eagles here.
Yeah, I think their passing game has been concerning enough to me that this is going to be a pretty easy pass. It would be Commanders or nothing for me.
I think the same thing applied last week, which is Commanders' money line is the play to go because of the volatility of the fourth downs. We'll come back. Tennis next.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.